I'm Robin Thompson. I'm a fundraising consultant, and I work with charitable organizations that want to raise more money faster, and then I coach people on how to do that. And I started these webinars, I think this is number 5, and I started them because I wanted to do something to help nonprofits, because what I found was there's a lot of information out there and a lot of it's not accurate, and it just it does something to us where it just causes a panic. And I don't want us to panic. I mean, we are the ones in the nonprofit world that are going to help us be able to come out of this and be positive and hopeful. So this morning, I am so excited to have David Dendy here with us. He is an ordained minister and has been for over 30 years. He's been vice president of philanthropy at the University of Dubuque. As a fundraiser, he raised over $200 million for over 100 churches. He's a humorist, he's a professional speaker, and he's also the author of 14 books. David is coming to us from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, where he lives now. Welcome, David.
Hey, thank you, Robin. Great to be here. We don't have any snow like you do, but we're doing well. And Las Vegas is beautiful this time of the year. Unfortunately, there's nobody here. The whole strip is a ghost town. Any of you who are joining us today who have been to Las Vegas, you know how crowded that strip can be. 42 million visitors a year, and now it's down to 0. Nothing is going on. It's a ghost town. It really is something. So fascinating time in which we are in. And so I'm honored to be your guest today, Robin. And our friendship goes back, I don't know how many years, a long, long ways. And I just feel like I'm so honored to be a part of your team today. So thank you for having me. And a special shout out and thank you to all of our attendees today. Thank you for the great work that you're doing in your nonprofits. You're making a huge difference in the world. So keep up the good work. And thank you very much for your passion and your energy and your focus and all the great things that you're doing to make our world a better place to be.
Great. Well, thanks, David. And so let's just jump right into this. You know, when you and I were talking about what a nonprofit is known for, you know, their mission, their vision, basically what they are known for. And then what happens during these uncertain times, you know? Talk a little bit about the mission and how it relates to the organization. And basically, you know, like what should we be doing right now?
It's a great question. And it's certainly something I think about all the time. Obviously, I'm pastor of a church, and I guess we're a nonprofit as well. And yeah, what do we do? And I think the thing that has struck me the most is that for all of us, whatever our mission or our nonprofits are passionate about, that has not changed during this whole COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, the mission to shelter animals, to help out youth, to help out sex trafficking, or to prohibit sex trafficking, to all those things that we're a part of, that mission has not changed because of the pandemic, not one bit. And you know, thinking about what should we be doing right now. Well, this is the time, as you mentioned in the intro there, this is our time to step up and to continue making an impact, because I think what's going to happen once we come out of this, which we will, people will think back, you know, what was so-and-so doing during the pandemic? Were they reaching out? Were they isolated? Did we not hear from them at all? Or were they out there, you know, not hitting the streets, but you know what I'm saying, just kind of reaching out to people and whatnot. So a couple of things that I thought about it. What can we be doing right now? Obviously, we're staying in touch with our donors, our contributors, our supporters, you know, all that. And of course, I think what's happening, what I've noticed, and I'm sure everyone else has noticed, people are being incredibly creative during this time. I mean, it's my son Josh just said, "Oh, we got to play a new game I saw on Reddit or something." I'm like, "Oh, what's that?" And he said, "Oh, we're going to put balloons and we're going to put them on the floor with our names on them. And then we're going to get the Roomba and attach 2 knives to the Roomba and let the Roomba go around, and whoever's balloon gets popped last was the winner. But out of crisis comes great creativity, and so this is our time to really be creative in a lot of different ways. So.
And so when you think about that, and so when we talk about the mission, and okay, so the mission has stayed the same, but you and I talked about repackaging that. Like, how are we presenting that? So do you have any ideas?
Well, certainly, yeah. It's the repackaging. That's exactly right. Obviously, mission stays the same. The vision, the focus, the passion, all that's going to remain. But how do we package that? And I know for us, our church, we take in anywhere from, anywhere from $12,000 to $18,000 a Sunday. And then all of a sudden we're prohibited from meeting, and we can't meet. And so we're doing everything online. And we have an older congregation. And so online giving, I can't trust that online stuff. Someone's going to steal my identity and steal all my money. Well, I guess that does happen, but not every day. Well, not to everybody. So we had on Palm Sunday, we had, Jesus coming into the Jerusalem. That was kind of a big parade. So we said, well, let's have a parade at church. So we had a drive-through and just had people drive through, and the desire and the need for people to get out, see each other, face to face, eye to eye, was great. And people kept their windows rolled up most of the part. Some people stood up through their sunroofs, whatever. It was a lot of fun. But we had the offering bucket out there, and hey, we know you love to give. We want to continue to give you the opportunity to give. So we'll have the sterile Lowe's 5-gallon paint bucket out there for your offering. And we took in, I think, $24,000 that day. And then we did it again last week for Easter, and we took in, I think, about $20,000. So that's a huge boost, because let's face it, the last 3 Sundays of March, zero. So I don't know, maybe you're a cycling group, or hey, everybody get on your bicycle, stay 6 feet apart. Well, let's have a drive-by, or let's have a ride-by or something. And maybe there's a bucket, drop some check or something off into the bucket, and let's circle around Vail, circle around 10-mile ride, whatever it may be. But just how can we continue to reach out? One thing I've also thought about is, as we touch base with our contributors and donors, ask them for advice. To me, I think that's a great sign of strength. I mean, someone came to me a couple weeks ago, and they said, "Hey, I'm putting together this talk for single moms. Could you give me some advice on that? I'm not a single mom, but she wanted some advice or counsel on, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. What do you think?" I was so honored that she would ask me for counsel and advice. And with her asking for help, did I see that as a sign of weakness? Not at all. A great sign of strength. She wanted to be the best she could be, and she was seeking out other people to pipe in and to add counsel and advice to help out. So, I'm thinking for some of us, maybe that's a great way for our donors and contributors to feel like they are continue to be a part of the mission. Is, hey, obviously struggling times, rough time. Hey, what would you do in our shoes? What way would you think about reaching out? I think your contributors would be honored to offer that kind of counsel and advice.
And David, I think those were great ideas, because I think about some of the nonprofits, and I think Holly from the Eagle River Watershed Council's on here. And one of the things that they do, of course, is river. Can you imagine? Okay, so have a parking lot so that people can drive down and look at the river. Right. So I know there's a couple people on here that do equine therapy. What about bringing all the horses out and driving by and looking at the horses? And so I think that is a brilliant way to just kind of create community and have people be able to come out, and then have the sterile bucket there that they can throw money into. So I
Well,
think
I tell you right now, Holly, is that right, on the rivers? I tell you what, you get a film of Holly doing a polar plunge in the river, I'll give $100.
okay,
There you go. There you go. You got it.
it.
On my word.
That's right. You've got your first donation there, Holly. She's laughing. She just chatted. She said, "Ha ha." Okay, so I think that's an awesome idea. Is just how can we be creative and figuring out ways so that people don't feel like we're just bombarding them by asking them for money. Instead, we are, saying, hey, let's do something fun. And then the other piece of it, and people who know me know I say this all the time. We ask for money and we get advice, and we ask for advice and we get money. And so, David, you probably wrote a check after she called and asked you for advice on a single mother.
Right. Well, I think another thing, the family on April 11th, Saturday night, we watched Apollo 13, the movie Apollo 13, which was the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 13 launch. And if you've watched the movie, the flight director, Gene Kranz, this is NASA has never ever seen anything like this. We've lost fuel cells, we've lost oxygen. How are we gonna get these astronauts back? And these guys are saying, oh, this could happen, that could happen, blah, blah, a lot of negativity. And Gene Kranz turns to them and says, gentlemen, I beg to differ. I think this is going to be our finest hour. So how are we thinking about this time? Is this going to be our finest hour? Or is this going to be the worst thing that's ever happened to us and we'll just fold up our tent and go home? I think what's our mindset for this? I think the mindset needs to be, here we go. Let's go. Let's get them. And it's probably taken a little bit of time to get used to the idea that, oh my gosh, we are in the middle of a pandemic. Kind of like your body when at least I'm told this, never experienced it personally, but when your body goes into shock, where does the blood go? It goes to all the major organs to make sure you're still. And I think all has been kind of a little bit of shock. We kind of came in, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And now the time is, okay, I've survived whatever it is. And then, okay, let's start getting that blood flowing out to other areas as well. So.
And so what I hear you saying is, I hear you saying that we should be asking for money now. And it's not like, only social service organizations should be asking for money. It doesn't matter what kind of a nonprofit, whether we're an arts organization or whether we're an environmental organization. It sounds like your opinion is that we should still be asking for money. Would you say that?
Absolutely. I think it's a matter of the mission still exists. Kids still need to be cared for. Horses still need to be cared. I mean, the river still needs to be cleaned. Whatever it may be, these things are still happening. They haven't. The whole world hasn't stopped. Well, it kind of has, but I mean, the need is still there. And just to put out there, what is our need? I'm on a nonprofit board, and we had a meeting the other day. And so, okay, well, this nonprofit is dependent on conference attendees, rentals of cabins. It's a conference ground. And so, okay, let's send out a letter to our contributors and whatnot. And so I said, well, let's make sure we tell people, hey, year to date, we usually take in X, and this year to date, we've taken in Y, which is almost nothing. Let's make sure let people know what the need is. And the answer was, we don't have those figures. You don't have those figures? Why don't we have those figures? I mean, tell the story. Let people know this is where we are. This is what we need. I mean, versus, yeah, if you could just give generously, that'd be great. What? I mean, tell me what you need, and I'll do my best to meet it. But let's deal with reality. Tell me where you are, what's going on. To tell me, well, we're just a little bit behind. Are you behind $1,000? Are you behind $100,000? I mean, what do you need? Let people know. And I have found people respond much better to the truth than they do, well, I think things are going to be okay. What? You know, if you feel like you're going to have to close the doors, let people know. Unless we do X, Y, and Z, we're going to have to close the doors. Let people know really what's going on.
Yeah, so I hear that transparency, that we need to tell them what we need. I'm working with one client, and as we were working through it, the executive director felt a little reticent to ask for money, and we wrote the appeal letter, and she didn't feel like sending it out by snail mail. She didn't want to do that. She wanted to send an email, and typically, those of you that know me know, I say, hey, snail mail, because now snail mails come full circle. So finally, sent out an email, and the email hit, I think, last Tuesday. And so she just told me in the last week that as of last night, they've raised over $600,000.
Oh my God.
And yeah, and this is a new nonprofit. I mean, they basically, their board had been supporting them, but no other donors. And so if I can give a message of hope that the money's out there. Now, granted, this is a social service organization, but I mean, I know a lot of nonprofits, I mean, to have a tenth of that coming in would be just right now. I mean, it would be awesome. And, you know, David, I know that a lot of people have compared right now to after 9/11. They said, hey, it's similar to what we've been through. And I know you were doing consulting during that time of 9/11, and you had some consulting clients. Tell us about, you know, what happened there and how you advised them and all that.
Well, no, great analogy. At the time of 9/11, I was working with 6 churches around the country. And of course, 9/11 happened. And then the question became, do we continue to move forward with the capital campaign? And of the 6 clients I had, 3 said, no, we're going to postpone, we're going to hold off, we're just going to wait until we kind of know a little bit better. And the other 3 said, we're moving forward. You know, we feel passionate about this. God has called us to do this, and now's the time. And those 3 churches had phenomenal campaigns. I mean, just, and so in our world of church fundraising, if you can raise 2 to 3 times a church's annual budget, that's a great campaign. One church raised 15 times its annual budget. Another one raised 4 or 5 times. I mean, it was unbelievable. People just came. There was just a new sense of focus. And yes, let's come together. And there's a sense of unity. And that was huge during that time. I think we're seeing that today, as a matter of fact. But here's what I found troubling was the other 3 churches that said, let's just wait. 3 years later, none of them had moved forward with the capital campaign. Everything came to a complete stop, and in a sense went backwards. So that's what I would say. We got to keep moving forward. And like you said, it might be packaged differently, it might look differently, but step forward, step forward, step forward.
Well, and I think that's great advice, because that's what I'm hearing, that people want to give right now. And so that we need to give them that opportunity. We just need to be sure that we're not being overly aggressive and not recognizing where we are right now. And that, you know, we're all in this together. And, you know, I've been trying to call nonprofits and just ask them, how you doing? And one of the things I keep hearing is that when they call to check in with people, they're saying, well, you know, last year I gave X amount, but I'm going to give this much more this year because I really feel like that you all probably need it. And so seeing gifts increase.
Yeah. What's that old saying? You miss 100% of the time the shots you never take. You know, I mean, ask. I mean, the worst they can say is no. Okay, they say no. there's, like you said, there's plenty of other people out there who want to say yes. Let's give them the opportunity to say yes.
Right, exactly. And so,
And I would say, I'm sorry, Rob, I was just going to add, when you send out these emails or letters, add some value to it at the end of the email. Whatever it may be. It's all about horses. Okay. Hey, during this time, make sure, here's 5 tips of keeping those horses healthy, and, brush them, feed them, make sure they're well hydrated, take them on a trot, even if it's in the ring, get them moving, keep those lungs clear. Yeah, blah. Add value to your clients or your contributors or donors, supporters, whatnot, so that when this is all said and done, and they think back, who was looking out for me? Who was helping me during this time? They'll think of you. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's great advice. I had said that you were very creative at the way that you try different things. And so as nonprofits are trying different things, because like some of them had to cancel their events. And so they're, now everybody's trying to move that event online, or so people are thinking about creative things, but I think there's a little bit of fear there that,
Sure.
Can I do something different? Should I try something different? So what advice might you have for being creative and how to, at least try to have some success, or think you're going to have some success before you put that creative idea into practice? Oh, it looks like we lost David.
Still here?
Oh, good, he's there.
We're back? Okay.
You're back.
I think, reality is a lot of times it's a crapshoot, as far as whether something's going to work or not. But what I've discovered is, for instance, so I've been at this church in Vegas for 5 years now. So the people have seen me up close and personal over 300 Sundays, or 250, whatever many Sundays it is. And so there's a lot of trust there, and I trust them, they trust me. So we had a Good Friday service, and of course we had to do it all online. So when people came online on Good Friday, this is what they saw. This close of my face, just look around. And I'm sure
it was black all around him too.
Yeah, 6 feet back, Pastor, get back. But I'm sure some people just thought, what in the world is he doing? But you know what their next thought was? I don't know what he's going to do, but I know David, and I trust David, and whatever he's getting ready to do, it's going to turn out all right, and it's going to be okay. And so my level of creativity can only be as high as the level of trust people have in me. Because if you don't know me and you showed up on Good Friday and saw my face, you'd be like, what is this wacko doing? And some people said that anyway. So, but if you've built trust with your donors and your supporters, they're going to trust you to do something outside the box, because now everybody knows we got to do it outside the box. So you're not, everyone's in the same boat here. It's not like we're on an island all by ourselves. Oh, what should we do? Everyone's on an island. Everyone's in the same boat. So now's the time. Try it out. If it works, great. If it doesn't, hey, no one's going to fault you for trying. Not at all.
Yeah, and David, I agree that you do a good thing of keeping in touch with people, not only seeing them every Sunday, but with newsletters and that type of thing. And so I think for those of us that are in nonprofits right now, keeping in touch, and I know a lot of people are picking up the phone and calling their donors, but what if that you put into practice a weekly email or something, so that you build that trust that David's talking about during this time, so that when we come out of this, they will remember that you were the one that stayed in touch with them. And right. So I think
just like we send out, so what we've done, or what I've done, is I mean, we send out, I've been doing this for years, send out Thursday's thoughts. So I'll put that together after I get done visiting with you. But every week, email goes out, here are my thoughts for Thursday. And then since the pandemic has taken place, you know, I lead a prayer group, 6 a.m. and 5 p.m., twice a day, every day. And then I do a daily devotion. I film that, put that on there. I mean, it's just a way of staying in touch with people. I'm online 3 times a day now, whereas before, I was rarely online. I mean, I'd put stuff on Facebook when not, but to be live, to be personal, to see people face to face. I mean, Zoom, all that. This is all new for all of us, and you know.
And so I think that's great advice. Like how can we keep in touch with our donors through Zoom? Last week, you all may have seen that I interviewed 3 board members, and some of them had never used Zoom before. And so just helping our donors get used to it, because, you know, we're missing this human interaction, seeing each other's eyeballs. And so if we all can get comfortable using, it doesn't have to be Zoom, but it GoToMeeting, or I've got a Microsoft something meeting tomorrow. And so finding whatever platform works the best for you, and help your donors learn how to use it. And then they will forever be grateful. I had somebody call me the other day and say, I want to do piano lessons online. Can you teach me how to use Zoom? And so, you know, so I mean, I just think that creativity is just so important right now, and for us to, you know, think about that. And part of that creativity that you had said, you know, the Strip in Las Vegas is like nobody's there, barren right now. And of course, you know, the events. I mean, Las Vegas is a big convention center place. And so,
yes, it is.
You know, so not seeing a lot of those meetings happen, those conferences happen. And at least here locally, and I'm sure throughout the country, we've had to cancel events as nonprofits, and that's some of their biggest fundraisers of the year. And so, you know, what might be your advice if you put on your creativity hat? You know, how could we, you know, look at those events in a different way to still be able to raise money?
Well, I think the reality is we're going to get through this. We will get through this. And the time will come when we will gather together again. And what a great time that will be. I know when I watch TV now and I see people hugging, I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? Stay away. I'm like, wow, this is how much impact it's had on my own thinking. But we will gather again. We will come together. And so, yeah, if your big event was canceled in April because of this, then let's set it for July. Let's set it for, let people know. Give them a date, give them a time. Let's start trying to figure that out. We're going to do it in August. If it has to be canceled in August, well, then it has to be canceled. I mean, you know, if we're still in isolation or whatever. But let people know we're planning, we're moving forward. You know, we're doing this, we're doing that, and you know, unless your nonprofit is Hugs Unlimited, you know, you should be all right.
I like that. Hugs Unlimited just went under.
Yeah, they just closed the doors.
They did.
But for the rest of us, I mean, you know, video is king right now, and it will be, because, you know, we'll try this out. We'll see what our attendees think. Robin could have just said, hey, thanks for coming today. I'd like to share with you a list of questions that I've asked David Dendy, and then here are the answers that he wrote down, and then just put that on the screen. Now, what would you know about David Dendy? Well, you'd know his answers, but I think you know me better now that you see me face to face and see my nose and my glasses and kind of see where I live and whatnot. And this is the opportunity through video to just connect with people eye to eye and face to face. You get Holly, I can't wait to see that video of you plunging in the river, the polar plunge. I mean, that gives me a sense of who you are. The windwalkers, show me out there on the horse. Give me a video. Show me how to, just show me the horses. Show me you on the horse. I mean, whatever it may be, whatever your nonprofit is, show me what's going on. Give me a picture. Picture's worth 1,000 words. The picture's worth 1,000 words. How much is a video worth? I mean, show me. And you can, video editing software is cheap and easy, and you can find, I don't know, ask your 10-year-old to help you figure it out. I mean, it's all out there. So.
Right. Yeah. And I totally agree. I know that some organizations have gone online with their event. Some of the ones that they just couldn't move for one reason or another. And so we are going to have a discussion here in about 3 weeks about, okay, let's talk to some organizations that have actually moved it online. Let's talk to some that postponed it and just learn from what they have learned through that, and how can we figure this out, because this is, some people hope we're going to go back to normal, and I think, we're going back to a new normal. I don't know that we'll ever go back to the normal that we used to be. So we need to, and I continue to say this, we in the nonprofit world are in improv acting every single day. We are trying new things. We're saying, okay, let's see if that works. Just like I said, normally I wouldn't say, go ahead and send an email, but she did, and it worked. So, and so I tell everybody that, I'm going to tell you what worked pre-COVID-19, but we don't know if it's going to work now. So let's try it. And we'll, say, okay, we won't try that again because it didn't work, or, hey, that worked well. So,
one of the luxuries of pre-COVID-19 is I can come by and see what's happening at your place, your office, we're feeding the homeless. I can drive by, I can help out, I can see that. Well, I can't do that right now. I'm stay at home, can't leave. Then show me a video, or put together a video of a slideshow of past events. This is what we used to do. This is what we continue to do. We love doing A, B, and C. And show me the face of the director, the front office, whoever you have on staff. Show, say hello to everybody. Hey, this is a send out. This is a hello video. Hey, good to see everybody. Whatever it may be. But just help people see that you're still around. You're still active, you're still passionate, the need still exists, and you are there to help lead the charge.
And I love that. Let them know that we aren't going away, that, because that's one of the things, David, that just, it really pains me to hear about some of the nonprofits that have laid off all their employees, or, they're thinking they're going to have to go under, or, everybody's taking a 50% pay cut. And, I don't know how you feel about that, but I think, that could be a knee-jerk reaction. I mean, I'm not an accountant. I don't even play one on TV, but I think there's something that we could do in the meantime. And I keep saying, let's fundraise our way out of this. And so, what are your thoughts on, as you sit on a board and, you're seeing, that whole budget thing, and people are just like clamping down about, the staff and.
Right. Well, obviously that's a tough call and a tough decision for any executive, any board to have to wrestle with. I think my first reaction is like on my church staff, we have 13 people on staff, and we're all getting paid. We're all still employed. No one has been let go. No one's been furloughed. No one's been fired or anything like that. And we're still paying everybody twice a month, and my goal is to keep everyone employed until there's no money left. And I want to give our donors, our contributors, our supporters a chance to support the organization before I start letting people go. So you might have to let someone go. But I think the question is, have we done everything possible to raise the money, to reach out to the donors, to get as much support as possible before we let people go? If I say, I'm going to let 50% of the staff go because I just don't know if people are going to give. Surely people aren't going to give during this time, blah, blah. Well, that's just pure speculation. I haven't even tested the waters yet. So if you tested the waters, you put it out there, you've done everything you can, and you know what? No money's come in. Well, then obviously you've got to make some tough decisions, or maybe they're easy with no money's coming. I don't know.
I think that is great advice. I was talking to a nonprofit yesterday, and the more we talked, he said, I didn't really think about it, but we have one board member who could write a check and cover all of our salaries for all of our employees for a whole month. And I said, so, are there other people, other donors who might be able to help out if it went on for another month? And so as we brainstormed, there were ideas. And so, these knee-jerk reactions that I'm seeing of, let's just lay the whole staff off, or let's just leave one person on the staff. I mean, that just pains me because, David, you and I talked about that these people, I mean, they're our nonprofit. I mean, they're our connections to our donors.
Right. Your nonprofit might have someone at the front desk, and everybody who calls in, that's the first voice they hear. If I let go of that person, if I let that person go, wow, this is the person that has connected with every person who's ever called our organization. It might be just the most important person in the whole, and they probably have the lowest salary, maybe. So, yeah, I say just do our best. And one thought that came to my mind is, you can look at your donor giving patterns or records. You may have a lot of people who give in December, year-end giving. I wonder if you could just say, hey, you mind moving that year-end giving up to June, up to May, something like that? Excuse me. All you can do is ask. No, I'm waiting on that fourth quarter bonus. Okay, great. Or you might have people say, I got that. Yeah, absolutely. Happy to move that up to May, or May 1st.
And David, I heard somebody say, why should we be making a decision for our donors and decide for our donors that they don't want to give? What gives us that right to make that decision instead of asking and allowing them to say, no, that's not going to work for me right now, or yes, of course I'll do that. When I was at a university, we had, this was in 2007 and 8, we had scholarships go under. So we had students who had renewable scholarships and they went underwater. So our bylaws said we could not give out those scholarships. And so, people on my staff are like, okay, here's all these students that can't come back to school next year because they don't have scholarships. And I said, no. Let's go to our board, tell our board how far underwater they are, how much that we need. Do you know, just like that, our board covered all of the scholarships. Every student got their scholarship for the next year. It was easy.
Like I said, just got to let people know what we need,
Exactly. Okay, we've got some questions here, and then I'll come back and ask you some more questions.
Okay, great.
So Lisa Raleigh asked, regarding the Colorado COVID Relief Fund, I have a client who provides mental health services and submitted a grant request a couple of weeks ago and was denied. She is wondering if she should submit again, as they have a rolling application every 2 weeks. Any thoughts or suggestions around this on reapplying every 2 weeks? I think you and I would answer that question the same way, David. I think we both would say, go for it. You know,
Absolutely.
any money that we can possibly bring in to help us through this time, I would keep applying, and maybe they'll get tired of seeing you come through and say, let's just give them money and get it over with, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Another question. Equine Assisted Learning and Therapy Center called Windwalkers. They just bought the facility in February. And should we be launching a new capital campaign?
Yep. I mean, absolutely. Why would we not? I mean, well, let's wait until whatever. I mean, do a fall campaign, get people, hey, we're going to get people ready for it. We're going to be doing a fall campaign, and get your donors ready and start lining up those one-on-one visits, and, you know, and share with people what is the need. You know, what's the value? We bought this facility so that we can, you know, facilities facilitate our values, you know, and we value A, we value B, we value C. Up until this point, we haven't been able to do A, B, and C until we bought this facility. Now we can do A, B, and C, and we need to pay for it. So.
Yeah, I think that's awesome language, because again, we've got to tell people what we need and give them the opportunity to step up. So that's
well, you know, you making that comment about people making decisions for other people. I'm just right in the middle now of watching a documentary on Vietnam, put out by Ken Burns, which he just does phenomenal stuff. So back in the early 60s, there's this meeting in France of these 8 national leaders. They're going to decide how to divide up Vietnam. Do you think Vietnam was invited to the table? No. I'm like, are you kidding me? How can we be making decisions, these kind of decisions for a whole country? For other people? So invite your donors, invite them to the table. Let them make the decisions.
great. So Holly, your new friend who's going to take the river plunge, she said, our education coordinator's been producing videos weekly. Is it important that the executive director is putting out regular videos too?
I would say absolutely. Who, you know, whatever your nonprofit is, who's the face of it? You know, and typically, I'm not saying in every case, but typically that's your executive director. And yes, I need to see the person in charge is still in charge. You know,
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything against the education coordinator. I'm sure that person is doing a phenomenal job. But intermixed with that, I mean, education coordinator, hey, our guest today is our executive director, you know, and let's take the executive director out to the horse pen or whatever. I mean, let's get him out there and show him. I mean, let's get that executive director on the horse. Let's see him ride. You know, I mean, whatever it may be. But yeah, yes, people want to see. That's just the reality of leadership. They want to see the leader.
Yeah, and I think that's great advice. And you know, just get comfortable using Zoom. And you know, one of the things you can do is you can video in Zoom and then upload it to YouTube and do an editing there, so you can cut things out and
Sure.
you know, just do a real fast, quick edit. And so that, you know, then you don't have to, you know, worry about, oh no, you know, I've got to memorize this or whatever. So, okay.
Right.
Good. Okay, so Gabrielle says, we're now offering telehealth with an occupational therapist. Ours is a new normal. So that's awesome.
That's fantastic. That is great. Love it. Love it.
So Claire said, our message has been revised to heal our community. We have a creative idea for a social viral share campaign where a community member creates a post, then asks others to share it. If we hit a certain number of shares, then a donor will donate X amount of dollars. How creative. It's a great concept. However, we don't have any donor in mind for this. Do you have any suggestions on how to go forward to find a donor or do it without a matched donor? Interesting, Claire.
So I think So I think it's a phenomenal. That's a great idea. I love it. I love it. So the question is, how much do you have in mind for this to be? I mean, it'd be fun to say, hey, if we get 100 shares, I'll put in $1,000. Okay, great. And then who are some of your donors to say, hey, last year we know you gave $20,000 to our nonprofit. Can we count on you again this year for that? Oh yeah, sure. Well, can we do it in this way? We'd like to do this viral share campaign, and can we count on you to give $20,000 if if we hit 100 shares, 1,000 shares, whatever it may be? And the person's already going to give $20,000. So yeah, just put that person's gift onto this. It'd be a great way to at least get it started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And again, if you put it out there to some of your donors, I have a feeling that somebody will rise to the occasion. I'm just seeing that time and time again. I mean, it's like, okay, we get the case statement in place, and then all of a sudden donors just appear. I mean, it's just amazing. I call it magic, but we know that it's putting all the right things in place. Just so you know that Rebecca Canale did say yes to apply for the Colorado COVID Fund again. So this is about that community of us helping each other. So she said, apply for that again. Claire responded and said, thank you. I can reach out to past donors and see if they'll latch on to this. We have many December donors. Okay. Right. So
you just used a great word, community, and another word that comes to my mind is collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of my bucket list items has always been to do stand-up comedy. And so I got involved with a group that the graduation, to graduate from this course was you had to perform at Caroline's Comedy Club in New York City at Times Square, the most well-known comedy club in New York City, perhaps even in the country. Oh my gosh, I was so nervous. But every week you're on a group call with 6 or 7 other people, and you're like, well, here's kind of what my joke or my premise is. And then they say, oh, well, if you would add this or add that. And so by the time I got to New York City, I mean, it was, I had this nice, great routine, but it was a collaborative effort. And so the collective was much better than just me trying to figure it out. And so I think, Robin, what you're doing here, inviting people to come together and yeah, let's share ideas. This idea, share viral campaign, it's great for this group. It might be great for another group too. It's okay to share. It's okay to, here's what we're doing. Oh, well, hey, let's do that too. I mean, let's collaborate. It's typically the donors for the horses are not the donors for Hugs Unlimited, I mean, whatever it may be, just, you've got your donors, no one's trying to steal them. So yeah, let's share ideas.
Great. So David, you talk about I will say your byline is laugh often and fear not.
Yes.
And so during this time when there seems to be so much unrest and uncertainty, how do you tell people, like, what would you tell all of us as nonprofits so that we're not panicking during this time?
Well, it's a great question. And so yeah, my mantra in life is laugh often, fear not. And because I love to laugh, I like to see other people laugh. I mean, it's great. So one thing I've learned throughout this journey of laugh often and fear not is laughter. It relaxes the brain. Laughter allows us to release, and I can go into all the details, but releases all these unbelievable chemicals in the brain, which allow us to think more creatively, to think more introspectively, to think outside the box. When you're tense and tight and nervous and just, oh no, the world's falling apart, you can't think straight. But when you laugh and you can take a different view on things, a different angle, and you can laugh, you can relax, you can think better, you can think clearer. The science behind it is incredible. So I'm all about laughter. When I hear my staff laughing, I know we're being productive because we're able to think better, think clearer, think more creatively. And so another one of my taglines is laughing often leads to fearless living. You know, as a pastor, obviously I sit with a lot of people who are near death. And this, I can't say 100%, let's just say 99.9% of the time, people I sit with do not regret what they did over life. They regret what they did not do. So come September, come December, my hope is that none of us would be sitting there going, you know what, I wish we had done this. I wish we had done that. Let's have no regrets. You know, just tried it. We tried everything. I want you sitting there come December saying, we tried everything. We got as creative. We were creative. We collaborated. We did things we were uncomfortable doing. But you know what? Look at us now. It's December. We're in the black. Bring on 2021. And our mission has never been more focused. Our people have never been more energized. That's what you want to see happening at the end of the year. Now is not the time to go hide under a rock. Get out there, tell the story, do it with joy, do it with reality. And as Robin said, the people will step up. Let's give them an opportunity.
That's great. David, I think you should do a webinar on how to laugh often and fear not during this time. So I think we all could use that to be able to just laugh a little bit. And now, if somebody wanted to watch that video of your stand-up at Caroline's, can they go to YouTube and just search your name and find it?
They sure can. Yeah, they sure can.
Is it just David Dendy or David W. Dendy?
I think it's just David Dendy. Yeah,
okay.
And it's it's probably if you look up Laugh Often and Fear Not, that's the name of the YouTube page.
Okay, perfect. And so one last question, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up. So if you could wave your magic wand and bestow anything on the nonprofits that are on here today, what might that be?
What might that be? There's that one karate chop. This will make it all better. So it kind of gets back to what I was just saying. You know, come December or during this time, and this analogy is not new to me. It's probably not new to you. But do you want to be a thermometer or a thermostat? You want to be a thermometer or a thermostat? Thermometer, all a thermometer does is react to its surroundings and measures it. Whereas a thermostat controls the temperature, controls the atmosphere, controls the setting around it. And so I think let's not be thermometers. Let's be thermostats. Get up there. Here's who we are. Here's what we're about. It's what we've always been about. That has never changed. And here's what we're doing to continue the cause, to continue the awareness, to continue the assistance, the help, whatever it may be, to move this world forward and make the world a better place. And the amazing thing is that all of you are doing that. And so let's just keep doing it. Don't let this virus slow us down. There's a great story. Is it true? I think it's true, but I don't have any evidence for it. It's a great story back in World War II. If you remember, in England, Winston Churchill is the Prime Minister of England. And during World War II, in the middle of it, the coal miners went on strike. And without production of coal and fuel, the factories can't run, you can't make the planes, the tanks, the bombs, the bullets, the rifles, all that kind of stuff. So coal miners, this is a big deal. So Winston Churchill was called in to speak to the coal miners. And what did he say exactly? I don't know, but this is the gist of what he said. When the war is over, in years from now, when your grandchildren are sitting on your knee and they look up at you and they say, Grandpa, where were you during the war? What are you going to say? What are you going to say? The next day, the coal miners went back to work. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, people are going to say, where were you during COVID-19? I can tell you where I was, right there on the front lines, moving my organization forward. I was not going to be slowed down by this at all. So I hope you'll do the same. Let's put on our sneakers. Let's go for a run. Let's move this thing forward.
Wow, what a great way to end that story, David. That's just phenomenal. So thank you for saying that.
Even my dog is clapping. Listen. Hey.
And the horns beeping. You must have had another parade coming through, and the dog and that's our new reality, though. Being on Zoom is everything, you know. So
the drive-bys next week, people, not today.
Right, not today, not by your house. Okay, let's talk a little bit. There's a couple more questions, and I know it's a couple minutes till 10, and so let me just do some things as where we're going to go next week, and then give you some information I think you need. First off, last week we interviewed board members, and I have had a few people say to me, our board needs to see the board members we interviewed last week. So if you email me or chat it in the chat box, if you didn't get the link, I will send that link to you so you can send it to your board members. Second thing is, this is pretty daggone exciting. They have done another Giving Tuesday. So Giving Tuesday is now going to be on May the 5th. So it's time for you all to write that appeal letter. And if you need help, if you need any assistance, if you want to brainstorm ideas, just give me a call. Let me help you get that letter out there, because this is giving us all an opportunity to not feel like it's too aggressive, because this is coming. So you can Google Giving Tuesday if you want to know more about it. Sign up. You can, then you're listed as one of the nonprofits participating in Giving Tuesday. Okay, third thing is next week we have Jeffrey Byrne, and Jeffrey Byrne has raised over 1.5 billion with a B, billion dollars. He's worked with over 350 organizations. He's been board chair of the Giving Institute. You know, they publish Giving USA. He's lived here in Vail, Colorado. If you live here, you know I interviewed him last July, but you know the world has changed now. And so he's going to come on and talk about what he has seen and heard, and what he's advising nonprofits that he works with his company, Byrne Pulaski. And so that will be next Thursday, April 23rd, same time, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. And so we would love to have you come back next week, and I will send you a link. Be sure I have your email address so that I can send you a link to that one next week. And so we just want to thank David. Thank you so, so much for giving us this message of hope and giving us an opportunity to laugh this morning.
That's right. Laugh often and fear not.
What a great way to end it.
Yes.
Thank you all so much for being here. Go out there and do what David said. Be the light. So go out there and do it.